Hi, I'm making this video today because I'm curious as to what complete strangers think of my accent. I was born and raised in the South. I'm only 19, but I'm just curious as to what people think, and I figured YouTube would be a good place to try it out because I think people are a lot more honest when they're hiding behind a keyboard. So what I'm going to do is read a paragraph or two of Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find, which is an excellent story, and I highly recommend it if you have not read it. But I'm kind of getting a little bit into the action, so if you haven't read it, I'm sorry if I'm going to ruin it. But yeah, anyways, okay, here we go. The road was about 10 feet above, and they could see only the tops of the trees on the other side of it. Behind the ditch they were sitting in, there were more woods, tall and dark and deep. In a few minutes they saw a car some distance away, on top of a hill, coming slowly as if the occupants were watching them. The grandmother stood up and waved both arms dramatically to attract their attention. The car continued to come on slowly, disappeared round a bend, and appeared again, moving even slower, on top of the hill they had gone over. It was a big, black, battered hearse-like automobile. There were 3 men in it. It came to a stop just over them, and for some minutes the driver looked down with a steady, expressionless gaze to where they were sitting, and didn't speak. Then he turned his head and muttered something to the other two, and they got out. One was a fat boy in black trousers and a red sweatshirt with a silver stallion embossed on the front of it. He moved around on the right side of them and stood staring, his mouth partly open in a kind of loose grin. The other had on khaki pants and a blue striped coat and a gray hat pulled down very low, hiding most of his face. He came around slowly on the left side. Neither spoke. The driver got out of the car and stood by the side of it, looking down at them. He was an older man than the other two. His hair was just beginning to gray, and he wore silver-rimmed spectacles that gave him a scholarly look. He had a long, creased face and didn't have on any shirt or undershirt. He had on blue jeans that were too tight for him and was holding a black hat and a gun. The two boys also had guns. So that was just a little bit of Flannery O'Connor's A Good Man is Hard to Find, so that you could hear my accent and tell me what do you think. The sound, if you don't know anything about Flannery O'Connor or A Good Man is Hard to Find, it's set in the South, and so when you look there, you notice that a lot of the text or the dialogue is sometimes phonetically written in a Southern accent, and so I think sometimes I put it on a little bit more when I read Flannery O'Connor, so this probably wasn't the best thing to read, but yeah. So do your worst. I already know anything else to say. The reason I'm doing this is that, well, I guess it kind of goes back to a couple of years ago. I was actually on a tour bus with my family, and there was a man seated behind us, and he goes, knowing full well that my sister, my grandmother, and my mother were all from the Deep South, he said, "When I hear that Southern twang, I automatically deduct 10 IQ points." And so, which of course, I mean, is completely ridiculous, and it's stupid, but I don't know, I think Southerners get really perceived as a lot stupider than they are, and I hope it's not because of the way I talk, but we'll see. So, I guess the question is, do I sound stupid?